Good morning, folks. Welcome to Season 3. Prove it. I love those words. In the next few videos, I'm going to show you all of my proof on how uniface tools were made. How the stone was prepared and sliced and then turned into images and tools. I'm going to show this by showing the little edges of mini stones to show how they were pressure pounded or whatever the preparation for the split. Shows up over and over again on many stones and tools. And it'll take me 2 or 3 videos to show that. And they might tend to be a little bit long, like this one. But I really urge everyone to watch my videos so I can prove the uniface tool making and show how little pieces like that come about, how the stone was prepared for the slicing, how chunks are made, how it was cut up, and how this was done over 10,000 years ago, because it has elephants and horses on some of these. But the evidence is really plain if I can just show it right. How they would prepare a stone to get slices off from it. And turtles and I would appreciate everybody watching. Folks, many of these bones have images on them, but I will get back to them in another video. What I want to do is go over the stone splitting process one more time, and I'm going to show you on several tools in the next few videos where that particular tool came from a stone, and it has a lot to do with the platter making process. Large stones are the cortex and different areas around them are removed, and then platters are sliced out of them, by pressure pounding and sanding and then splitting. The preparation is that. I wish there was some flint knappers that was attempting to reproduce the uniface tool process. And cores, when they get down to that, they're sliced up to make tools. And I can tell a core because it's faceted like a jeweler's stone. Some cores are turned into nutting stones, breaking up nuts. Some cores are turned into this. That's heavy. But it can be set up to make a shallow bowl. Same as this little one. There's another little shallow bowl with a peak to push down in the dirt or ashes or whatever. And these are slices of stone. And for each one of these, I can find where on the platter it came from, because of that high spot right there. It's always right in the center. And there's always a little break on this end of a platter. All of these are that way. Find the very high spot, and that would be where it came from, this platter. Could have been bigger, or it could have been a stone just about that size. But these are all processed from that process. I mean, from the stone splitting process. And I'll show this over and over again. This was one of the larger pieces I have. This platter is about half of one. And I think the stone splitting process has been going on for hundreds of thousands of years. So these are the kind of stones a person might find in the creek. The ones that go, that looks man-made. And it's part of this process. These cores come in all sizes. I think they're kind of easy to recognize because they're faceted like a jewel. Most of these are tools, hammer stones, and they come in even small sizes. And I'll show you many little tiny tools that came from the same process of splitting the stone, whether it's large or small, because the process makes the same type of break, the same type of tool. And many of them are cut in half. I can usually tell where the tool came from by looking at the bottom. That is that oval shape. This was probably just one stone, and the high spot is right there. And it would have come from just like that. And these parts would have been carved off. And it's some pretty neat images. That horse for one. And there's a little bit of color still in it. And the eyes are seen real easy. It's a horse. But it's also a slice of stone. And that part right there is so smooth and worn down, and it fits my hand just like that. So this was an abrasion tool and an awesome horse. Talk to you later, folks. A stone will have an end knocked off, and that flat part is what I call the base. That is the base. That is the base. And the base is what shows up on these tools. They'll have a flat spot on one side, showing that they were split from a larger piece of stone. And I found that the first two breaks on all of these is here. Well, I'll show you. And this is a good example of an edge piece, like that. Now, to call these all a platter would be, they don't all come out real thin. It's just the method of the way they're splitting the stone, whether it's a thin piece or just one solid piece. Here's a stone that they have taken the edges off from to make that crescent shape abrasion tool, scraper. And it's from one stone. The method is still the same. This was the horse. And it always seems like they created it, when they created it, it has a high spot in the center. Here's another example of a stone with both hard stone and cortex on it that they've sliced. And it is a crescent shape scraper, a cutting tool. And I can hardly wait to get into the images. This shows where this was split from a stone. It made a little crescent shape cutting tool, small crescent shape. But that little flat spot right there shows me where it came from on a platter. All of these are this way. This is the base. Another cutting edge, crescent shaped cutting edge. And these all fit really, really well in my hand. This created a sharp blade, slightly crescent shape, and a very definite sharp crescent right there. And that right there shows me where it came from on the platter. Right there. The high spot's always in the middle. Or I found it here, it's always in the middle. This is a long sliver of stone. The high spot would be right here. And this is a crescent shaped scraper. It may have been sharp at one time, but it's not discarded when it gets dull. It just becomes the abrasion tool for that job they needed. There. And this is a knife. Could be hafted. Could be handheld. Another knife. And that's the base. And that's the little flat spot right there that made this little handheld blade. Another blade. This one's neat because it's got a heart right there. But by finding this, the way this split, and finding the base, now that's a drill. I find it on so many tools. There's always a little flat spot showing that it was from an area like that. And that's a little blade. Crescent shaped scraper. Knife. Big knife. Drill. Little handheld knife. Scraper. Engraving tool. For a drill. A large stone is prepared by slicing and pieces that comes off the end right there are I've heard them referred to as turtles. They make trade goods. They can be turned into tools. The cores are set up and split into mini tools, engravers, crescent shape cutting, crescent shape abrasion, knives, many tools can come from a stone if it's sliced up carefully. All of these tools are crescent-shaped cutting tools, large and small. Crescent-shaped cutting. Most of them show the base. I've got these set up showing the base, and but most of them do. And these are all crescent-shaped cutting tools, large and small. And the crescent-shaped cutting tool is one of the most common ones I find. There's a lot of work that was done with that shape. I want to let me do this a little different. These are all crescent-shaped cutting, and that is the base of each of these tools. Oh, that's why I put that there. These are all crescent shaped cutting tools. Each of these stones show the flat base. And each of these stones are a cleaver. This one's almost too big for my little hand to hold. Now these could have been used for scraping, but they just look like kitchen tools to me. Those folks would have gathered a lot of stuff during the day that need to be chopped up finer. This is the base, but it's a little bit rough. Sliced straight from the cortex. But it's all soft. All of these tools are soft to the touch except the working part. This cleaver has 2 blades, 2 edges. So it may not be a cleaver, but it could be used as one right there, or flip it around and use it there. They're both comfortably held, but just an odd looking worked stone. This one has sort of a rocking motion that could be used. It has that cleaver feel and look. This is more of a cortex from the side or the end. And there wasn't a whole lot of hard stone left. Most of this is cortex, but the hard stone looks like it was made into some sort of chopping tool. That at one time was a worked edge. It's held pretty comfortable. A chopper, a cleaver. This one is both, whoops, this one has a cleaver type of tool right there, which is held like this to use. But right here is a lot of wear on this spot right here, pounding wear. So this tool has a pounding and also a breaking. This one I don't really find a base on it, but it's a really nice cleaver. That's cleavers. They're fairly easy to make, I think, as far as someone knowing how to split stone, and just a couple breaks like that and you got a cleaver. These are crescent-shaped cutting tools. I'm sorry, crescent-shaped abrasion tools, not cutting. And it's cold out here in the rock room, so I'm wearing gloves. This is the base on each one of these. And I will show that. These are the base. I set up looking this direction. Abrasion tools are crescent-shaped abrasion. From the original making of the tool was meant to be an abrasion tool. Sanding. And most of the abrasion tools, not all but most, are made from the cortex of the stone. And the cortex is the ones that they really have a lot of softer stone to make images. I will get into the images on these one of these days. But abrasion, crescent shape. And that's the base. That would have been half of that like that. And that's the abrasion part. Crescent shape. And on many of the abrasion crescent shaped tools, there's an animal on each end of the tool. A lot of times an elephant like this one, and then a bird. or something on the other side. Not always a bird. There's the base. And there's the tool, a sanding tool. And again, there's an elephant there. And another animal there. It's the eyes. I mean, if they don't have eyes, then I don't call them an animal. Triangle eyes right there with a little circle around that. If you look close and you look right directly into the image, it's pretty obvious a lot of times what type of animal it is, but not always. But by finding that base and seeing how they were sliced from a stone, that's the first part that says it was a tool. And then this is a double-edged abrasion scraper, sanding tool. Looks like they were working with something round a lot. And these are the ones that has the most images on them. And look closely for the wear to see that it was used as a tool. Then how it fits in your hand. And that is an abrasion crescent-shaped cutting tool with other stuff, images on it. The base on this one is just a little bitty spot that was left right there. But by taking that little spot and that high spot here on the left, I can put it on a platter and see where it came from. And it is an abrasion tool. Shows wear. Many of these even shows residue of what they were sanding. A lot of stone, but the tool is right there. Not really anywhere else. Just there. That's the base. And this is the tool. Right there. Right there. It's held like that. Base. I got two up here. And that's the crescent shape sanding or abrasion tool. This is a hard stone, but it was used for an abrasion tool. That's a pretty good sized platter. Maybe a little cutting. Maybe this is a cutting tool. That's real nice. Yeah, that's not an abrasion tool. This one, the base shows hard stone, but the cortex was left on it, which made a nice crescent-shaped sanding tool. and images. This may have started out as a cutting tool. I consider these all uniface tools. There is the abrasion part right there. Crescent shape abrasion tools. Folks, I'm calling these a platter for want of a better word, but what I mean is that when a stone is turned up to be split, and then these split areas, I call them a platter. The first break on a stone, I'm assuming they're round, I'm just showing this as being round. The first break will have an oval shape outside. It can have cortex on it. Most of the time it does. Not always, not when they've been carved down to that. But the oval shape will have a high spot. It's just in the middle. Here's an example of one. Once the stone is being split through here, then the slices come up thin, showing no cortex. Showing the pounding and pecking and sanding to set up for that break, but no cortex. This is an example of a stone that was probably more round out to here, and there was a slice made that would have an oval outside, possibly even cortex with it. And then next, these two breaks are made so that the next slice, when they take it here, it'll have a high spot like that. And if this was turned over, it'd have a more flat spot on that side as opposed to that side. This is a small example. This is the, let me sit down for a second. This is the base of these stones, right there. That's the flat spot on that one and that one, this one and this one. I can't see my pointer. Oh, okay. That's just there to hold this from falling over. And when that break is made, there's always one side that's more flat than the other side. Now this is a bunch of examples of that. There's a flat side and the curvy side. And this one, flat, not flat. And these are all that way. this pattern is repeated many times on many stones. Now this is that fairly awesome stone with the Thunderbird and all that other stuff on there. The base was right here. This is another one. The base was right here. You'll notice a pattern being repeated. And the base is right there. On this one, the base was right there. Now, each one of these stones has some really awesome images on them. And they show basically the same pattern, but different stones. Okay, now what I want to show you today is these little areas right here. So each time a new stone is sliced from a larger stone, their first break is this right here and here. And this is what appears to be those breaks. They make engraving tools, and most of them will show a small triangular base, little flat base, from where that was sliced off a larger stone, and you get a small sliver that turns into engraving tools. So sharp. And the wear can be seen on the engraver right here, or graver. It's also a little side cutter too. But these are all show the evidence and the wear of what's called engraving tools. The wear is important. Got to find the wear to really say it's a tool. But these are those pieces that has a little triangular shape base on them. And these are all made into tools, different types of little tools. It seems that every part of the stone was used. So this process, well, every part of the stone was used. When these first two breaks are made, and these little triangle pieces are made on large stones, they'll look like this. Now this is the base of all of these, down at the bottom, down here. Right through there. Now these breaks on the end can be seen as reversible also. So I don't know for sure which side it came from. But they'll all have this angle right here as created by that break. And all of these are tools. Some of them look like they were used for sanding, maybe for splitting the stone. But they could be made into many tools, different types of tools, depending on how thick the platter that they came from. I found drills, crescent cutters, all of that from these little or big side pieces, or what appear to be a side piece. Every piece of the stone was used. Folks, it's going to take a couple of long videos like this for me to get through the part where I'm proving that the uniface tools were a stone splitting process. But during this next couple of long videos, I'll be showing you images that was carved into the stones. There's stones that look like pyramids, like lions or dogs setting. There's so many birds, dogs, fish, horses, bison, people, turtles, squirrels, snakes, rabbits, elephants, cave bear, large cats. They're on these stones, and I want to show these stones and that the particular patina that's on these stones, and because I don't really want to confuse them with another patina of stones that I keep separate, but they too have all those animals I just mentioned, but they're the really old, or they look like the patina on them are older than those. Don't really want to get into them too much until I've I don't know, it's what I'm saying is, what I've seen so far, that all the animals that's on this particular patina of stone, I also find on these ones that I'm saying that are much older. Only some sort of testing of stone could prove that. There is a little bit of different something that I feel when I'm looking at these older stones. It's not a better or a poorer craftsmanship. It's not that. Well, folks, I hope you stick with me. I got at least another long video to explain the stone splitting process and to show that it was done on these stones too. Now these could have been, because they got the extinct animals, horses and cave bear and elephants. Because they have those animals on them, I'm assuming they're 10 to 12,000 years old. And I would like to keep these separate and see if I can find an assumption or proof that these goes even further back. But the stone splitting process shows up. Same type of tools were needed. I hope y'all can stick with me. Thank you for watching this video.